Get a quote at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers not available in all.
Think your company's safe? Your staff is working from home, right? As I speak, cyber criminals are mounting attacks across the country. Remember, when we're weakest, cyber criminals attack. Hi, Mark Sommerfeld from Rymark. The Rymark team is guiding our clients through these difficult times. In fact, demand has been so high, we created an easy-to-follow guide. It's yours free. Download our 5 steps to securely work from home now at rymarkit.com or call 651-328-8900 for a no-cost how-to discussion.
Whether you rent or own a home, we all likely have nightmare stories about home maintenance, or what I like to call home cringe moments. Join me, your host, Katie Shahan, for the Yarlow Home Cringe Show. See what home cringe-worthy stories we have for you each week as we talk with local home service pros. Learn best practices for winterizing your home or what to look for after a hailstorm. Listen to the Yarlow Home Cringe Show every Sunday at 2 p.m. or on your favorite podcast app.
Turn to Auto Technical with your vehicle donation. Even though Auto Technical is a small nonprofit, we have helped more families with transportation than any organization in Minnesota. Since '94, we have reconditioned donated vehicles so they have a higher tax benefit. Call Richard at 612-919-5526, 612-919-5526, or autotech.org.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Brett Johnson. Look for partly cloudy skies today with a high near 27. Tonight, light snow with a low around 23. And Thursday, sunny with a high around 26. Craving authentic Szechuan and Mandarin flavors? Visit the Great Wall Restaurant for hot and sour soup, pan-fried dumplings, sesame chicken, and more. Located at 4515 France Avenue South. For takeout, call 952-927-4439 or check out their full menu at greatwallrestaurant.us.
Portions of the following program may be pre-recorded.
Broadcasting from the studios of AM 950 KTNF, the progressive voice of Minnesota, and streaming live right now on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/@TheGailey Show. This is The Gailey Show. I'm your host, JP D'Arpagosian. Joining me in studio is our executive producer, Jim Pounds.
Hey, all.
In the control room is Adam today. I don't know if Adam can say hello.
Hello, everyone.
Hey,
Adam.
Commander of the spacecraft today. Adam, we're happy to have you here. Our call-in number, 952-946-6205, 952-946-6205, or you can chat with us on our YouTube live stream. What we have on the show with us today, or who we have rather, in the second half hour, Jim Connolly, the owner and founder of Rainbow Road in Minneapolis, along with the store manager, Jack Moreland, will join us to talk about their business that is celebrating their 29th anniversary.
Amazing.
Isn't that wild?
That's an institution for you.
It is. It is. But up first, the fate of any hope for a liberal comeback in Wisconsin is on the line on April 1st. There is an election for the next Supreme Court justice in Wisconsin. The court currently has a 4-3 liberal majority, but Justice Ann Walsh Bradley is retiring from the court at the end of her term, which is this year. And because of it, because of the 4-3 liberal court, Wisconsin got new electoral maps that were actually, reflective of the voters.
Democratic.
And what do you know? The Democrats didn't actually take over everything. There's a whole story about that involves the governor not taking the maps the court was going to give him that would be more in favor, but whatever. But they did increase their share of votes in the assembly, and they are now 2 votes shy of the majority in the state Senate. But with the retirement of Justice Ann Walsh Bradley, we now have 2 candidates. The conservative is Judge Brad Schimmel, who is a Waukesha County Circuit Court judge, and the liberal candidate is Judge Susan Crawford, a Dane County Circuit Court judge. Now, I should say that all nominees for a court are nonpartisan. However, you can see stacked up on one side the Democratic Party and liberal activists and organizers for Judge Crawford, and on the other side, MAGA and conservative activists for Judge Schimmel. Already, already, the conservative candidate for the court has been accused of, I have a list here, folks, doctoring an image of Judge Crawford. So MAGA is claiming it's not a big deal because they took a photo of Judge Crawford of her smiling and then removed the smile in the photos that they're using in the advertising.
You mean
Now,
they're making women look bad? Isn't that an interesting consistency for Republicans?
can't have women be smiling.
No.
I thought the whole thing was they were just telling all women to smile more. And now they're getting rid of,
Yeah.
So hey, okay, we're doctoring images. All right, that is wrong. I don't care what you're doing to a photo. You're doctoring the photo.
Unethical.
It's against.
That's right.
Yeah, you're not supposed to be doing that.
That's right.
Also, fun fact about Judge Schimmel. So PolitiFact, if you all know from PolitiFact, the Poynter Institute, they rate statements by candidates, and what for truth, or on the other side of it is liar, liar, pants on fire. When he was serving as Attorney General, he was caught lying about the number of untested rape kits in Wisconsin. Fun. He said that hundreds had been tested. How many, Jim, do you think were actually tested?
Knowing Brad Schimmel's record, I'm gonna say 12.
9.
Okay.
9.
Even worse than my worst
9.
guess.
Of an original figure of 6,000. The Justice Department had actually taken that number down and said 3,800 of the untested kits would be tested when he was Attorney General. That was if the rape survivor consents to that happening. But, there we go. So doctoring images.
Strike one.
As Attorney General, lying about rape test kits.
Strike two.
And now today, I need breaking news. This is the second day in a row we've had breaking news. I need to find some breaking news music. WUWM 89.7 FM. Oh, hey, Adam. There we go. My man. Getting me some breaking news music. Milwaukee's NPR is reporting an ethics complaint has been filed against Judge Schimmel. At issue are allegations that Schimmel has been directly fundraising. Now, apparently, according to the Judicial Code of Ethics in Wisconsin, you are not supposed to directly fundraise. A candidate for office, for judicial office, can't ask directly for campaign donations. And he's already been campaigning for a year, and the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel was quoting him as saying that he was joking about needing knee pads. And it's like, well, why do you need knee pads? Because of all the times he's had to get down on his knees begging for money.
He's so cool. But the thing that I'm sure you're going to talk about this, the more frightening part is that another thing that's not Elon Musk's business, Elon Musk is making it his business. So people in Wisconsin, he wants to decide what kind of Supreme Court justice you have. He doesn't give a good what you think about it. He's going to flood the state with all of his ill-begotten millions and billions to try to change your mind about a good candidate, a solid candidate, a worthy candidate, and this other guy. And we've got to be careful when we watch this stuff about people flooding falsehoods to try to create a false truth. And we have to be stronger than that. And Wisconsin is the next place that slime bucket is going to be to try to slime the state of Wisconsin, and we have to stand up to it. And the young people who elected Janet Protastowicz need to show up. The kids in colleges that lined up during her special election, you need to show up because you were not there in the 2024 election in the same numbers, and you need to be there this time.
Now, to be fair, the Democrats did turn out and exceed the number of votes in the general election in November. They got 30,000 more votes for Kamala Harris and Tim Walz than had voted for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris in 2020. So I do want to recognize that the organizing was working. They did turn out the vote and then some, and it unfortunately still wasn't
mysteriously
enough.
Trump won anyway.
Okay.
Just one of those
I just want to close the loop on this breaking news. Yeah. So the complaint is being filed by Nick Ramos, who is the executive director of the Wisconsin Democracy Campaign, filed the complaint with the 9-member Wisconsin Judicial Commission. So, yeah, there we go. There we have. So what is at stake in this election? Oh, I'm sorry. I got so wrapped up in the breaking news. To your point, Jim, now we actually have a track record for Elon Musk in government.
Yes,
running around,
burn it to the
just
ground.
burning everything to the ground.
Yeah.
So if you don't like the way that Elon Musk, who is an unelected person, is completely shutting down the federal government, which includes sending out emails to federal employees telling them, hey, we'll buy you out for the rest of the fiscal year,
including the CIA,
freezing hiring. And just this week, HuffPost was reporting that he has directed a federal agency to start canceling, the agency that's in charge of maintaining all of the leases that the federal government has with office buildings across the U.S. to provide office space for these federal employees. He has now directed them to start terminating all of those leases so that there is literally not a place for all of these folks to work. And that's the guy that you want to have. You're going to follow him on the Supreme Court?
We don't want to. Good people won't follow that. The good people of Wisconsin are more substantial than the insubstantial Elon Musk. I'm totally confident of that.
So what is at stake in this election? Why are we covering it here on the Gailey Show? Well, like I said at the outset, any hope for a liberal, progressive, Democratic comeback in Wisconsin is on the line here, because these terms, whoever wins, will have a 10-year term. Right. So any cases related to LGBTQ rights that goes up to the court, those are on the line here. Other things that the court may take up. So congressional district boundaries may be on the line. The current court declined to take up that case. Unfortunately, the maps that they redid were the state level maps, so they didn't touch the federal level maps. Right. So those could come up. Abortion rights can be back on the court, in front of the court again. Election laws can be back in front of the court, and union rights can be back in front of the court. Particularly, there is now a challenge to Act 10 in front of the court. One of the Supreme conservative justices has recused himself. So now it'll be a 4-2 court hearing this case and deciding on it. As folks may remember or may not, Act 10 was the controversial law that ended public bargaining units, basically unions.
Right.
Unions in Wisconsin.
Right.
And the effect of that, I was working at a community college in St. Paul, and we had a huge uptick in the number of applicants for jobs, open positions that we had after they passed Act 10.
From educators.
From educators who were willing to drive from Eau Claire and other, Western cities into St. Paul. And it wasn't just us. We were seeing that. We were seeing colleges all across the eastern border of Minnesota. Right. We're seeing education professionals leaving Wisconsin because their pay, their health benefits,
so brain drain.
Terrible.
Yeah. I would also add environmental laws. The reputation of Wisconsin of being a great natural state runs counter to the truth of how they've been abused by both the legislature and the DNR. Our environmental situation is terrible in Wisconsin, and this Supreme Court seat would be critical to trying to restore a decent equilibrium between natural needs and commercial needs in that state.
Well, and you say that as a Wisconsin resident and Wisconsin voter.
I've seen the decline in a rural area of wildlife. It is irrefutable, and it is substantial, I promise you.
And having a conservative majority on the court will also encourage more attacks on DEI, which we have now very clearly seen that when they're going after diversity, equity, and inclusion, what they're really going after are rights and protections, just, your basic fundamental rights and protections for queer people, for people of color. And it's, it's really important that we keep this court. So we're going to talk more about this after the break. We're going to take a short break here. More about the Wisconsin Supreme Court. I want to hear and take your calls as well about your take on the court. You are listening to The Gailey Show on AM 950 KTNF, the progressive voice of Minnesota. Be sure to follow us on Blue Sky. We're at thegaileyshow.org.
Hey, it's Patrick. February is the month for love, so when was the last time you gave your carpet the love and attention it deserves? Have you gotten down on your hands and knees and adored how clean and refreshed it was, or are you scared of what you might see or smell? Not only is your carpet one of the biggest investments in your home, but it's also the biggest air filter in your home. If your carpet hasn't been professionally cleaned, you are breathing unhealthy levels of nasty dirt, dander, bacteria, and germs that keep recirculating again and again and again. But lucky for you, my friends at Zero Res are going to spread the love to you and your home with their Love Your Rug special. Get 3 rooms Zero Resified starting for just $119 and get a 4th room free. But don't forget dirt and dander's favorite hiding place either, your air ducts. This month, take $75 off any air duct cleaning. Call Zero Res right now, 952-ZERO-RES, or go online to ZeroResMinnesota.com and say you want the AM 950 special. Backorder forward, it smells the same. Zero Res.
Hi, I'm Peter Solak.
And I'm Adam Ostrowski.
We are here at Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces to talk about the joy of live fire cooking. Cooking over a live fire is the oldest and most basic form of cooking.
What's new is in the way fire is handled and its heat is managed.
It's easier to experience and enjoy the smell and taste of food cooked over a live fire.
Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces sells and installs live fire grills, fire pits, and ovens. Let us help you experience the smell, the taste, the fun of cooking with fire.
Pizza was first made and is still best made in an open fire oven. The radiant and conductive heat of a live fire is unmatched for wood roasting and baking artisan breads too.
Come see the many ways you can cook over a live fire.
Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces has over 35 working wood and gas units on display at the corner of East Franklin and Riverside Avenue in Minneapolis. More information at woodlandstoves.com. Find the fire that works for you. Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces, out of the ordinary products and services since 1977.
Winter reading, losing yourself under a blanket with the fireplace blazing away while submerging yourself in a book and trying to finish just one more page? Winter nights are the perfect time to read, and that's where Next Chapter Booksellers can help. They're independently owned and have all the bestsellers and new releases. Not sure what to get? Their friendly booksellers are great at recommendations. That's your winter reading headquarters. Next Chapter Booksellers off Snelling and Grand. More at nextchapterbooksellers.com.
Located just north of 50th in France, the Great Wall Restaurant has provided a delicious taste of authentic Chinese cuisine since 1981. Specializing in Szechuan and Peking dishes, they offer one of the most extensive menus in the Twin Cities. Favorites include hot and sour soup, pan-fried dumplings, and mushu pork with homemade Chinese pancakes. Stop by their Edina location or call for takeout at 952-927-4439. See the full menu at greatwallrestaurant.us.
Welcome back to The Gailey Show. I'm JP Dervagosian. It's 21 minutes after the hour. Jim Pounds, executive producer, is with me here in the studio. Our call-in number, 952-946-6205, 952-946-6205. We're taking your thoughts. Constructive thoughts on the court. We have a caller. Jeff is with us here. Jeff, hi. Welcome to the Gailey Show.
Hello. Quick comment before I get to my point. I met you, my wife and I met you at the listener event last spring, and then we sat next to each other at Randy Rainbow.
Oh, yeah. Hey, Jeff.
Hey there.
Yeah. Okay. So my point I wanted to make. The guy that wants to be the judge doctors a picture, then he says it didn't mean anything. Well, wait a minute. If it didn't mean anything, why did he do it?
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
That's it. So,
Thank you for cutting through all the nonsense.
Yeah. Yeah, but it also raises the question of how many other images are they doctoring? Now you have to go back through and find other images, and they did it with a purpose. I mean, Jeff, you're right. They did it with an intention to make an argument to the voters.
Yep. Without a doubt.
Yep.
Well, thank you for the call, Jeff.
Okay, thank you. Thanks. Talk to you later.
Bye-bye.
Talk to you later.
Well said.
It was
you cut right through it.
Yeah, it was great to hear from Jeff too. That was really fun to sit together and meet him at the listener event. Which reminds me, I guess I'm going to do a plug here. You can come to events like that, dear listeners of the Gailey Show. You can become a member of AM 950 And when you become a member, you get cool things like a 2025 calendar with photos taken by our very own Matt McNeil and access to fun events as well that we have throughout the year. Last year there was the debate watching parties, which
Yes.
were really fun to, with pizza and everybody. We were at Crooners for that.
One of them, and there was another one. There was a second one you and I did not go to for the vice president.
Oh, that's right. We weren't there for that one.
Yeah.
But we appreciate the call, Jeff. What are your thoughts, folks that are listening? 952-946-6205, 952-946-6205 about the state of the Supreme Court race. An astonishing number, according to the Wisconsin Democracy Campaign, the Supreme Court race in 2023, collectively $57 million was spent on both sides. So take both those numbers combined, you get $57 million. Absolutely stunning. It was the most expensive race, obviously in Wisconsin history. And I think also, I don't even know if I want to say that because I don't want to end up fact checking myself, but for sure it was in Wisconsin history ever, and probably ranks among, I can say that probably. It probably ranked amongst the most expensive in the United States history for a Supreme Court race. Already, the AP News is reporting that the first week of January, Crawford had raised $2.8 million from individual donors since getting into the race. The Crawford campaign, I should say. I want to be mindful about saying that. Judicial candidates cannot ask directly for money. Compared to Judge Schimmel, who had $2.2 million reported that that's what he had raised by the first week of January. If you are just tuning in, there is some breaking news around fundraising. UWM 89.7 FM Milwaukee's NPR is reporting that an ethics complaint has been filed against Schimmel. There's my breaking news music. Allegations that he has been directly fundraising, which no. But already we are, those are the numbers they're buying or raising. Schimmel, of that 2.2, has already put in a 1.1 million television ad buy in the second week of January. So those numbers are clearly going to be exponentially higher the closer that we get to April.
What the Republicans tend to do is they turn the fire hose on in the last few weeks of an election, which is when people that are undecided or haven't been paying any attention or whatever the reason may be can be influenced. And so they will flood your mailbox with the most amazing, unprofessional, and I'm an advertising professional of 40 years, the most amateurish, embarrassing direct mail that you've ever seen, but it appears to work. Some people just aren't thinking critically about stuff, and they'll flood everything at the last 2 or 3 weeks to try to trick you into doing something that will hurt yourself. And so we have to be smart about that.
Well, I think what you're saying there is that by flooding the zone, they have mailers, so postcards, with horrifying, awful images of Democratic, progressive, and liberal candidates on these, and it's the end of the world and blah 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 blah. But they send dozens of them in a week.
It's tabloid newspaper. It's the mentality of a tabloid newspaper, which is just made for a 12-year-old. And they're thinking you are all going to pull those things out of your mailbox and go, oh my God, she's a terrible demagogue. We can't possibly, you know what I mean? But you have to think, you have to be above that. You have to think for yourself. And I'm encouraging people to be critical in their thinking and to think more deeply than they have been.
Well, and you've had conversations in your county, where you're a resident, Burnett County, with the head of the Democratic Party there, that they actually have more registered Democrats in that county. Burnett County is in northwest Wisconsin. More Democrats there than registered Republicans, but it's on the independents, those that aren't registered with a party, where they don't win the majority of
independent voters tend to be low information voters. Independent voters, I'm glad they vote rather than not voting, which is worse, but they're people who don't like politics, and I don't want to hear about that. And all of a sudden they check in 3 days before the election. You and I did some door knocking. We talked to a gentleman who said, I'm going to make my mind up just before I walk into the place. And I thought, that scares me that you would make the most important decision of my life having thought about it for 20 minutes. But
yeah, door knocking was interesting, but we need door knockers. So folks, if you are concerned about LGBTQ rights, union rights, just the general state of democracy in the state of Wisconsin, then you need to be signing up with a number of different organizations. I'm sure if you go to WisDems, you can, on their website, you can find ways
They
of
have
volunteering.
a great volunteer sort of pipeline, I would say. And if people are wondering why are we talking about Wisconsin so much, not just because I live there, and that's not the point, but the other major elections, 2 in Florida and 1 in New York, are a little more remote to our region versus Wisconsin. This is a great big 3-alarm fire happening next door, and that's probably why we're putting so much emphasis on it, so that people really engage on how important this is. This is a game changer for the state, for the good or for the bad. We're going to the light or the dark, depending on this election on April 1st, in my opinion.
Well, and also restoring representative government in Wisconsin.
Which is so radical.
Like when you see they had, Michigan, where I had moved from, to Minnesota, was remarkably gerrymandered, and the policies and laws that were rammed through there were not representative of the populace, the voters. And once the maps were made equitable again, then surprise, surprise.
Ruled by the minority is the Republican point of view. Yeah, that's their
It
MO.
is. We're going to take a break here. Afterwards, when we come back, I'm going to, both of us actually, we're going to talk with Jim Connolly, the owner and founder of Rainbow Road in Minneapolis, along with the store manager, Jack Moreland. Rainbow Road has been in business for 29 years, so stay tuned for that after this break.
Hey, Minnesota, it's Brad Friedman, host of the Bradcast. We'll expose and make sense of all of our current political nightmares and more every weeknight at 7 on AM 950.
Eat Local Minnesota is a